Don't let rivers get in the way of your building experience in Minecraft. Make these areas of water work for you. I'm going to show you how to build this river base block by block, and then I'm going to give it to you as a world download in both Bedrock and Java, completely free. Go to avomance.com, it's already there waiting for you. Or you could find this on your own separate world. I have left the seed in the description below with the coordinates, and this is what you could build on it, but change up the palette. It's completely up to you. Let's crack on. I spent forever trying to find the perfect seed for this project. I needed to have just the right balance of land and water, where the river wasn't too wide or too narrow and the banks were fairly even. Some were really close to what I was looking for. I'll put the seeds in the description in case you really like them for yourself. But eventually I found what I wanted, with an interesting island feel on one side and plenty of space for large buildings on the other. Maybe it's not got the dramatic backdrop of some of the others, but this would be perfect for this Minecraft base spanning a river. Let's get building. Now as is fairly standard, I'm going to be making this up as I go along, but I think this is the kind of palette I'm going to be using. I might mix some extra blocks in. I might not use all of these blocks, but this is the kind of thing we're going to go for. So let's get building. And the first thing I'm going to need to do is work out exactly where it is I'm going to do it. And I think this crossing here, it's kind of almost the most narrow, not quite, but I don't want to build this on a diagonal. I want to build it straight across and give the illusion of a diagonal. But I'm going to come across right here, I think. Kind of about here. I want a tower of 4 blocks there. So that's going to go like that. So that's 1. I'm going to have a gap of 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then my next tower of 4 blocks is going to be just here. That's great. And then I'm going to come out 3. So 1, 2, and 3, which means I'm going to be building a tower there. And also, similarly, we're going to come up. It's going to be there, there, and there. They're going to come up and form a square. But I'm going to have to change up some of this into mossy. Otherwise, it's just going to look really weird. And I think also a little bit of cracked is going to make a lot of sense as well. So now we've got our 4 legs all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to need to add a little bit of detail to that, but I'm not worried about that right now. We're going to come up 1 more level. Then I'm going to place a wall on all 4 of these, and this is because I want to change the circumference just a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit. And I'm going to bring that up 2 levels, but you can see how that's kind of just nipped in those legs very slightly, which is what I'm after. And then on the top of this, we are going to place again some normal brick, and this is going to be the level of our bridge right here. If I get myself some slab, I'm going to use this wooden slab and bring a wooden slab just there for the start of our bridge. What I'd also quite like to do is make an archway on the sides of this little section, just a little one, because this is kind of the bit that marries the 2 sides together, so it makes sense to have an arch there like that, and then place another one on the other side. Then we're going to fill this bit in between here with some slab, and then here we're going to finish that off with a little bit of wood. So this is kind of the top of our first platform that we can start to build upon. We can then grab a little bit more, maybe a little bit of mossy, but not too much. We don't want to overdo the moss at this point. Like that, that's perfect. So we're going to be bringing this bridge across here, and I'm not entirely sure how far across we're going to go with this yet, but it needs to be an odd number, and it's going to be straight. So if we start this as 0, we're going to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so there we've got, that's the 7. This is going to be the 0 that we've got on the other side. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then another 0. And we can add to the side of this a slab there, and block there, and bring this up so as we can start to position our next tower. And this next tower is going to come down. If I just build straight down, and this one I think we're going to have, we've got a gap of 3 there, we need a gap of 3 there, 1, 2, and 3. So there's going to be another block there, 1, 2, and 3, and another block there. So that's going to be our second tower right there. Put some structure and some detail on that in just a bit, but for now I'm quite happy just leaving that as a guideline for us, because what I want to do is I want to try and get this slightly more structured. And what I'd like to do with this bridge is I'd like it to have some stone. I think what we're going to need to do is raise these up slightly. But if I get myself some slab there, a slab there, a slab there, and a slab there, bring that there, that there, that there, and that there. If I fill in just the underside of this for structure, and I'm going to change that up in just a second, and then what we can do is we can start to play around with some steps to try and make this a little bit more. So that needs to come out one there and there, and then that can then be there and there, there and there, like that. And if I repeat that on the other side, we should have an evenly shaped bridge. So that's kind of a basic, but I'm not entirely sure I like it yet. So let's just pop an upside down bit there, so it looks like that's got a bit of structure. I do not like that at all, so I'm going to place a step in there and another one there, like that. Yeah, and then step in there, another one there, like that. Do that on the other side as well, there. So that's going to start to bring us a shape. You can see we've kind of got our archway growing a little bit. I like the fact that we got stone visible but not really in the way. That's quite pretty. And I wonder whether or not we could bring another archway coming up this way and there. It's a little bit straight, but you know what? Let's go for it for now and see what happens. I'm just going to build that on the other side as well. Now, I think that will work, but only if I get the rest of it right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place fence posts all the way across just to complete that section of the bridge. So I think what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in a little bit more stone and also some andesite, because andesite works really well with stone, as you already know, of course. And we're going to build this up another little bit. I'm going to leave that one open 3, but this is going to get closed up to 1 so as I can bring a door in there. This can be closed as well. Let's not forget some of this still needs to be stone bricks, so let's bring that up there. So it's quite boxy at the minute, but I've kind of put in some corners there with a slab at the top just to give that slight archway feeling. Then we need to open this up on the sides. I think I'm going to open that up above that. I'm going to put some steel bars there, open it up there, bars in there. The door is on that side, so that's great. We'll ornate up this a little bit in a moment. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come all the way around with this stripped oak. I like the way stripped oak works with stone. It's a beautiful combination, and if you transition it well, it looks really, really great. So I'm going to bring this up with 4 high. And to transition it, what I'm going to use are some spruce steps and slabs. I'm going to place steps there, steps there, steps there, steps there. I'm not going to place anything on the back here. You'll see why in a moment. Steps there, steps there, steps there, steps there, then steps there. And then in the gaps, I'm going to place slabs. So across that bit, I'm going to do slabs. Slabs in the middle of that. Again, nothing on the back. And slabs in the middle like that. So that gives us kind of our transition into the next bit. And then on this one, I'm going to place steps there and steps there. So if I was to place spruce wood up the corners here, is that going to work? That's going to work, you know. I'm happy with that. So then we can, at the top of that, we can then build our roof. I'm going to place step there, and then again on this side, off the top of that post, we're going to come up, build 12-12 gable, back and forth, and then that there and that on the side. So that's going to be the edge there. But what we're going to do coming off of the side back here, we're going to build another building. So we don't want to have anything off the back side here, because this is going to be actually part of a completely separate building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up off the side here all the way up to the top of that there, and then I'm going to come along. I'm going to have to take these out because that's the level of my wall there. And I'm going to bring it along 1, 2, 3. I'm going to leave a gap, and then 1, 2, 3, I think, like that. That's perfect. Then we're going to come in one, in another one, then we're going to come out again, 1, 2. Just check my shape to make sure it doesn't look awful. Then I'm going to leave 3 gap, place 1 in like that, then 1 sideways. I might have to terraform that bit out there because there's something I want to do just there. That comes backwards. Another 1, and then this comes along literally straight all the way along the back like that. We'll terraform this bit out as well until we get directly on the side of this. That should work. So let's build this wall up all the way up to the same height that we've got here. That's perfect. And this wall is obviously going to continue along. We're going to take out anything in the middle that doesn't fit what we want. So all of this here is going to come out. And that includes making a little entrance on the inside of this wall as well. It's only going to be a 1-door entrance, but I think that's going to work beautifully. And it's also going to give us a little bit more depth to this door as well, which is exactly what I want. So let's just get rid of some of this so I've got a bit more room. That's much better. And what I'm going to put on the end of this is a little 5x5 square. So starting there and there, I'm going to come out. So that's 5, 1, 2, 3 with the gap 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is going to be the entire footprint of our base on this side of the river, or at least the buildings of it. We're going to do something out the back here, but we won't worry about that just yet. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring up any doors that we might want to include, just to make sure that I know exactly where it is I'm going. There's going to be a door right there. There is going to be a door in the middle right there. So let's place the door there. And there is going to be a door in the middle right there. So let's place a door there. And then we're also going to have a door central to that right there, at least for now. That will probably do for doors. I just want to make sure that I've got all of the building now. So we're going to put some walls in. Let's bring these walls up, and I will texture these walls up a little better in a minute, but I just need to guide my eye. That's going to become wood. So let's just grab that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. That comes around that way. I'm going to need to do some serious decorating around the back. I might need to just build something out on the side. In fact, I think I definitely will if I come across this side and bring this up. That comes out 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then 2, 3, 4, 5. That should do it. So we can come out there. So we get rid of that wall like that. That can come out. And we can replace anything that's dirt inside with wall, and that's going to be a nice little alcove there. What we're going to need to do now is we're going to need to work out exactly where we're going to put some windows in this thing. Now windows here, there's not going to be too many of them. I am going to need to just realise I'm going to need to put some steps in there, and that is also going to need to be a door. Let's bring the door in like that. Perfect. And then also some steps upside down there, and we can fill that with a slab. So that's a nice door there. Some steps upside down there, and some steps upside down there. I did tell you I was going to be making that up as I go along, so you can see the inner workings and ramblings of my crazy mind. If you are enjoying it though, please do consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing. It really helps out the channel and costs you absolutely nothing. So I've brought the walls up to the same height as the front, and I've textured the walls up on all sides, and it's kind of starting to look the way I want it to, although I'm fairly certain I'm going to change this bit in a minute. And I also need to sort this door out because that's horrific. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a gable there and a gable there. I'm then going to upside down that there, and that there to make that gable shape, and then I'm just going to support it on that side with 2 fence posts. That's much better already. And yeah, I'm going to change this. That doesn't work for me, so I'm going to change this out to wood. I have got a plan, I promise you, and I'm going to punch a hole in the middle of that one and a hole in the middle of that one, as if to prove that I have got a plan. And I'm then going to bring along here another wall, and then I'm going to bring it around this way and that way. This side I think we're going to need to bring up. I just want to offset it ever so slightly. So if we were going to do that, just 1 block, is that going to be enough, or will it just look blooming weird? Not sure. So if we offset that just 1 block, how's that going to look? That might look right, actually. Right, so I'm just going to bring up this wall. And now the wall's up, I'm going to carry on by adding the detail here, coming across every other one. I'm going to pop that there like that. Again, I'm going to place one in the corner there. And let's bring these in the center just to make sure that we've got that nice texture. Oh, they don't look very good, do they? Let's change those up so they are straight. And then here I'm going to grab another post, and we're going to bring a post 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then what gap have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, which means 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That one there is the center, and then along this side we're going to do the same. So let's bring up there, there, and there, which means we're coming in there as well. Pop that on the middle. Texture those sides up, which means we can bring one of these up. 1, 2, 3, and 4, like that. Okay, so we're starting to get some quite nice texture. And what I might do right in the middle of here, I'm going to bring one up there as well. I know it's not quite central, but you know, it's my build, sue me. So now we've got that shape, I can bring in the roof all the way around. And this is the point where you're going to go, oh, thank goodness, because I'm coming one past that, and I'm going to bring the roof along there and also along inside that. Actually, no, it's not going to go inside that at all. It's going to come outside that. So from there and there. So that's going to be that part of the roof. And then on this side, we're going to come out 1, and then we're going to run the end of the gable all the way across like this. Okay, so I'm kind of there or thereabouts. I then need to make sure that I've got the exact opposite side of this here, because that is where my end gable is going to be, right there. And then bring that up. I know it looks weird at the minute, but it's going to work. Trust me on this one. And then we're going to have another bit of roof coming across this way, because this is going to block off. Because I think here what we're going to do is we're just going to build on a little roof here, so that can come up there like that and there like that, which means that these come all the way along there, as do these come all the way along like that. So now we can start to build in some of the roof itself. So I'm going to be using this waxed weathered cut copper step, because I really like the way this is going to look as a roof like that. And then we can get the slab. I'm going to place a slab like that, but we need to give a little bit of shape, so we're going to put those two like that to give it kind of that slope. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try and complete a little bit more of this texturing around this edge and also around this edge. This has got to go a little bit higher here because this is a little bit higher. So if I grab, that can go there, there. No, actually it's going to go there, there, and there. And then inside. And then there, and there, there, and there. So we can then grab our slab. Except here, what I'm going to do, this is going to be interesting. Is this going to work? If I pop like that, and that like that, and then that there, and that there, I can then run this along that way. And this slab can come up there like that, and also up one. So it just gives a little bit of a break. This is going to need to have a block to stand on. So let's place that there for now. That can come there. And we'll bring that up. And then this can come up just a little taller. And what we're going to do internally is that's going to end up being blocked off there as well. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to trim off, because I'm going to have, let's use a slab. I'm just going to slab this off for now. It's not going to stay slabs, but it's just going to guide my eye a little bit. That's going to slab around like that. And then the other roof is going to come across from that side. So that's going to come there, and that's going to go there like that to meet that, which means we can place that there. And that means that these are going to come there and there, and then we're going to put some little inserts into this roof. So I'm just going to build this roof up. So the roof bit is on, and I've put on a wooden trim across the top just to break up that colour, but I really do like that copper colour. Now this one has not gone quite the way I would hope it would, but that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to try and fix that up by bringing up another column there, which is going to come up to there, which is going to mean that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then if I pop that there, that brings us another column to there. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is where we're going wrong. That's okay. We can use it. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this one here is going to column up as well. So we're going to somehow, and I don't quite know how, but we're going to somehow make this, that's got to be there. Otherwise it's not going to work, is it? Which means we can take that column out. This is how this is going to work. This is how we're going to make it work. So we're going to pop that there. Pop that there. And now I've got to work out how I'm going to bring this up just a touch more, so as we can create a roof that kind of spans all the way around. What I'm looking for is a little bit of a diamond shaped top to this roof. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to bring that across that way, and then that across there like that, which means I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that direction, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we kind of got the right shape. So let's try to start building this up. Now I want it to be separate to this roof, so we're going to need to increase the height a little bit further. That's cracking. Right, okay, so that's brilliant. We're happy with that. It looks a little bit lopsided there though, doesn't it? So what we're going to do is we're going to bring that up, bring that up, bring that up, fix those two, and bring that up. Now they're all inside except for those ones, which means that we can take these out. I told you I was making it up as I was going along, and then this can come across. And we can remove that as well, which means this roof is going to continue on. Now it's kind of worked. Thank goodness for that. I was getting a little bit worried, I'm not going to lie. So then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this inside here like this, which has given us enough space underneath for what I want. And then that like that. And then we're going to bring up, it would have been slightly better if it had been perfectly square, but that's my fault. I should have made it a different shape, but it's all right. Okay, so we kind of got that shape works. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to build this up another few levels. I'm not entirely sure how many yet, but I'm just going to keep going. I reckon it's going to be about another 4. Yep, 4 was the number, and then we're going to place some steps. I think there, there, and there, upside down, all the way around. There and there, upside down. And then we're going to grab a slab to do exactly the same thing in there and in there. And then I'm going to slab these corners rather than step them. There and there. Up, up, there, and there. That's it. So I'm going to do that 4 times. So it looks like that, and it looks completely imbalanced, I know. But don't worry, trust the process on this one. I'm going to come inside with that. I'm going to come inside with that and with that there. And I'm going to keep going until I've got myself a nice little roof. But I am going to do things slightly differently for this. So I'm going to place a whole block in there, and then I'm going to place another block on top. I'm going to come in one and place another block on top of both of those, and then that like that. Now that looks very jaggedy, I realise, so what we're going to have to do is smooth that out with some stairs there, and then we're going to have to place a block in there and a block there, block in there and a block there, block in there and a block there, and a block in there and a block there like that. And then we can get a fence, and we can place the fence on the top of that just to give it a bit of a spike. So that's, I quite like that actually. That's a nice, interestingly shaped roof, and we're going to make some more interest on this roof as well in just a minute. I need to get a couple of little gables showing out, just so as it looks like it's not just too flat. In fact, let's do that now, otherwise you know I'm going to forget. So let's pop it in there, just a nice little shape. And then similarly on this one. Okay, so that's looking better. What I want to do now is build up this little thing here, because without this bit, it's not really a base over a river. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to texture this up to make sure that we've got a little bit of colour on that. And then we're going to bring it out there and there. That works. And then that can come there like that, there like that, and we can have a slab in the middle of that. That's quite nice. I like that. And then that's going to give me just enough room to be able to place a step there and a step there with a slab there that can become the floor area, which is what we're going to have like that. Now what I need to do is I need to repeat these on all the other sides. Now that bit's done, we're going to bring in walls along these sides, one there and one there and along that, because that's going to again give us the indent that we're looking for. And then we're going to actually continue that indent around, so as we come inwards along this bit, there, there and there. And then I think we're going to come up one more with just wall there, there and there, which gives us wall 1, 2, 3, which means I can punch out that one there, can punch out that one there, which gives us that really cool texture, punch out that one there, giving us the really cool texture. We can then get my iron bar, place them in there, removes the texture, which is a bit of a shame. In fact, you know what, I might leave it open. Maybe we don't need those bars there, maybe they're just not necessary. And then we're going to get more blocks on each of those corners there, and then I'm going to use upside down stairs. Trouble is that does mess up the texture, doesn't it? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make a complete circuit of these. We're going to come in there and there, which is going to allow us to indent our building to the tune of 1 block, coming in like that, and then we can bring it up another couple of levels, and then we can bring it back out again to the tune of 1 block like that, which then allows us to have quite a nice shape that we're going to have to play with terribly, I know. That's going to come there, 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 and there. You can see the kind of shape that I'm going for. So then this needs to come up that there, 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 and that there, we can then get this can come there, and then we end up with not a completely square roof. We've kind of got this ever so slightly circular looking thing, and we can bring in, and we can just start to have a play with this roof. So if I bring that in like that and that like that, then bring in another block there, that can come in. No, that needs to go up. That can be a slab. That can be a block. That's cool. And then we can put that on top like that. And that's, again, I quite like, it's quite an interestingly shaped roof. So we kind of got a nice shaped tower there. There's absolutely no detail in it whatsoever, and we need to sort that out. Remember I said you need to trust the process? Well, you really do need to trust the process. And by the way, did I mention, if you're enjoying the video, to hit that like button? It really helps me out. Hit the sub button as well. It'd be lovely to see it in the sub club. I find the best way to add a little bit of detail to grey is to use some spruce with trapdoors and maybe some steps. So if I pop these on there, they do protrude a little bit, but I don't mind that so much because they're at least connected. I can punch that middle bit out and then place those there, punch that out, place those there. I can place some spruce stairs under each of these, giving it again a little bit more shape apart from anything. And then I can put some trapdoors around like that with a fence holding them up. Let's round this shape off a little bit. That's now better, at least. Looks a little bit like a, almost like a villager or a witch or something. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that because that's not what I'm going for, so let's ignore it. So I am going to do something with that again in just a minute, but we are, however, I think we're going to create an entrance down here. I think this is the place. So I'm going to grab myself some spruce. I know this looks very rudimentary at the moment, and that's because it is. So that acts as an entrance there. Obviously, we're not just going to leave that like that. We're going to get rid of those. We're going to get rid of those. We're going to place in stone steps upside down there. I think what we can do is we can place stone either side of those with a slab on top just to give height above the step there like that, and that creates an entrance. We've got a little bit not goodness there, so let's grab ourselves a stone wall, place a wall there, and in the middle we place that. Now on this side, a wall there. Let's get rid of that completely. A wall there, and in the middle that. Okay, so there's our entrance. But what we do need to do is we need to make these steps, which is going to mess up my slab. So what we're going to have to do there, I think, is we're going to have to slab up. There, because we need to have a slab higher at every point. So there's a slab, there's a slab, there's a slab, there's a slab. Let's just make that one block. I think that's fine. And then what we can do is we can place a lantern at the end on there, and also, is that a top slab? No, that's a top slab. So let's pop one there and there. Place a lantern there and there. Okay, so that's a decent entrance. That brings us up. We need to get that out. Brings us through. We're on our bridge and takes us inside, which we've got to do a lot of work with yet, but we've not finished the outside. First thing we need to do is fill in these gable ends. So I'm just going to place blocks all the way to the top. And then what we can do is we can make a separation using a slab. We're going to come across like that. We can then punch that out. That can become that there. And then we can bring in a couple of windows here. We can do one there and one there. I'm going to bring 2 panes there, those like that. And then we're also going to those there. Place in some trapdoors just to give that a little bit of shape. Up here we're going to place trapdoors that side, that side. That's going to go underneath there. So we've started to bring some texture into that one. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to do one large window. And we're going to trapdoor both sides like that. We're going to bring that in. That's going to go like that. And then we're going to have that like that on this side. Let's take out again this middle window. Iron bars, those like that, and then they can pop in there. And then on here we can put some lanterns on those, lanterns on one of those, and I can grab a pot. I'm going to place a pot on that one, a pot on that one, and a pot on that one, and then we're going to get, I think we're going to stick with a single flower. Poppy, poppy, and poppy. So that now actually has made that look massively different. I'm really pleased with the transformation we've got there already, and we've not even finished. So now we're going to have to do something with this side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this up one completely because it's too low. So I've got to take this out. And again, as I said earlier, it's perfectly okay if you want to just have a fiddle around with stuff you're doing and just change it if it doesn't quite sit right with you. So we're going to bring this up one more, and then what we're going to do is we're going to bring these around like this, which means we're going to come around the top of those posts rather than them sticking out sideways. Come around like that, and then what we can do is we can start the process of bringing this roof in. And I think I may take the opportunity to just change up the shape ever so slightly. So that is ugly as all sin. Take that out. Now I'm wondering, do we need to go there like that? But take that out. That, they can then come out there and there, there and there. That can go there and there. This bit's a bit weird, isn't it? But what we could do... Oh, hang on. I've got an idea. What if we cheat a little bit and make it look like it's meant to look like that? Because obviously it is. And put those there and that there. Those there and that there. Just to make sure that it looks continuous. That, I think, looks better. I'm happier with that. Is that got a wall next to it? No, it doesn't. So I can come in there and there, there and there. That can go like that. That can go like that. That. I'm going to put that there and that there. And on this one, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make those steps play around a little bit like that. And then we can place those like that to give that a little bit of texture. That's much better. Now we're going to repeat that on the other sides, except obviously this side here is a 6 and not a 5, and that's not a problem. So what we do is we just put our holes there and just adjust accordingly, and then they can get their lanterns. Here we go, there and there. Iron bars in there and there. Lantern hanging and pot holding. That has become much nicer. Now I have got this area here that we could possibly do something with. That's plenty for that, and I think we've got enough texture on that side. We now need to do something on the lower end and obviously on the back, and I've not forgotten you, little fella, because what we need to do here is place that there, pop that there, put a pot and that And we're going to place lantern hanging from there and there. And also we're going to put that there, and a slab in the middle. And then we're also going to take that out, put that there, stick that there, have a flap on either side, and a lantern on that. I think that's looking good, and we can place windows basically where we want them on these things now, because we've got completely free reign to do whatever it is we want, frankly. We can flap those there. And I think all in all, this is starting to look all right. So I've repeated that all the way around the building. I've decided also to put in a few campfires as well, because the campfires just give a little bit more texture over and above those trap doors as tops for those doors and things like above the windows. I think it works really, really quite well. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put more campfires in this corner to make like a, I don't know, like a lean-to type area. But I won't do that just yet because I need to tackle this problem. The problem is these logs. They're just sort of flat, and there's a few of them, and I don't like it. So what we're going to do is we're going to unflatten them. I'm going to get spruce log, and I'm going to stick spruce log coming off at right angles on anything that is flat like that. So I'm going to do that there. So you see where I'm going with it, and it kind of gives a little bit more texture to the way it's coming out. I'm also then going to grab myself a button. Stone buttons definitely look better, and I've also realised I need to stick another one in right there, but also that's got to have another jutty out with a stone button on it as well. No, that's not a stone button, with a stone button on it as well. And I haven't done anything with that window up there. That's appalling. Let's get that sorted, and let's lob in a lantern. Okay, that's much better. I said I was going to make a lean-to around here, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the fifth one, I'm going to come out 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to make a very big one. It's just going to be enough to look like a little bit of structure. I'm then going to place a wall there. That's going to come down 1, 2. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need it. I'm going to terraform it up properly at the end. That can come off there, and that can go there. So if I get rid of all of this, it means I've got to change up the wall, but that's not a problem. There can be plenty of moss brick. And that, I think, looks brilliant. So now I just need to put them out with a spade. Now that's most of the structural bits done, but I do still need to decorate it. And I reckon I'm going to be using pots and leaves and barrels and more leaves and chests and vines and probably even more leaves. So that sounds to me like a time lapse. So sit down, relax, enjoy the music, and I'll look forward to seeing you once I've decorated this outside. I am genuinely quite pleased with the way this has come out on the outside. We've got some really great decoration, not too much terraforming gone on, but we have put plenty of green so as it looks well lived in. Round the back we've got a little bit of farming going on, as well as storage in those barrels under that lean-to. We've got grain, we've got both watermelons, and we've also got pumpkins going on there. And inside here we've got a little bit of a dock with 3 boats. It's come out all right, but that's the outside. The inside is a complete mess. What's that all about then? And we're going to fix as much of this as we possibly can with the trusty slab, and that gives us a natural level just there underneath that door. So I'm just going to bring that around like that. Now we've got a problem there with that window, so we just need to pop that out and change that up, and then we're going to come across, and I wonder whether or not we just turn this into a bit of a mezzanine. We need to pop that out again and come across. And that, I think, probably is going to be far enough. If I take that to there, that looks like a good level for that. So I can finish that off. And then we've got another level that naturally lends itself up here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place another level here. So this first mezzanine is going to be relatively shallow. But if we come all the way across here, like that, and instead here, like that, that's going to give us a mezzanine level. I wonder, let's bring this one out and there, and then that can come. You know what, this isn't going to work. We need to turn this into stone. That little window at the top there can act just a bit of a skylight, and then that comes there and that comes there, and then this side, well, I need to raise this level up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get stripped oak there, make sure it's all faced in the right direction. I'm then going to put some oak steps there, and then we can turn the rest of this floor into oak slabs as well. That needs covering up, and this again is a floor, but we're going to need to go up a couple of levels. So I'm just going to get my slab again, and we're going to come up a level underneath that window, that corner there open, and then similarly we're going to come up there to build out the ceiling, because what you can do is just get rid of ceilings and these inner roofs. We don't need it for this particular build, so I'm just going to light it up so as we don't get anything spawn inside it. Second level there, which is going to come out there. Now that is a bottom slab, so we need to be careful, and then we need to bring some upside down steps there. That's going to come up there and there, and we can then create some natural steps going up to that. So that is one continuous floor with some cut open floors like that. Now inside here, what I'm also going to want to do is create bedrooms, storage, crafting, you name it, we're going to want it. So we've made a start, so I'm going to show you what I've done. We've just done room construction, we've not done any filling. So we've got this little room here, and we've got our ceiling. If we come out, we've got another room here with again a ceiling. That ceiling is just a locked off roof, there's nothing going on the roof, so I locked it off. Then we come in through here, and we've got a small room that we can go down, but first we're going to go up to this level where we've got a nice open room. We're going to open this up. These are all trap doors that have been flapped, but that's a door, and it brings us into this room, and I'm wondering whether or not I might just keep that open as a nice tall area there. Probably will. And then so if we come back down, and down here we can see that we've got our entrance element there. We've got another bit in the tower up here where we can come up and have another little room in the tower, which is nice. Maybe a little hidey hole there for nobody to be able to see us. And then we come up the stairs, and we've got another little mezzanine bit there that takes us into this small area where we can see out of the windows. I think that it's looking all right, but we've got to fill it up with all kinds of paraphernalia. So let's do that. You know what? I think I might be done, and this world is ready for you to come and download completely free on Avomance.com. That's Avomance.com. Go to free downloads page, and it'll be right there waiting for you. So let's come and have a look at what is right there waiting for you. As we come up and cross over the bridge, we have got our area here. It's just a nice little welcoming area, but we do have this upstairs Whereas if we come around, we have got a complete enchanting setup with enchanted books ready, lapis ready for you to use, and a fully charged enchanting table. So that's coming down. Inside here, we come through and we have got just a little holding area with a little bit of storage up here. We have got an area where we're going to do all of our crafting and our workstations. Plenty of storage there for us, plenty of storage there. And when we come up through this room, it is inevitably the bedroom. We've got some armor, we've got weapons and tools, and a little bit of painting just to make it look nice. And then when we come down the stairs again and back across here, inside here we've got our dining room with some food, some chicken waiting for us. If we come out here, we've obviously got our little dock area, but we're not going there right now because we're coming up and over. We've got our entrance hall that takes us out to the back and our farm. And then through on this side, we've got even more storage, loads and loads. I've sorted out that horrible bit there. And you come out, you've got this nice view. And then you come in here, you've got a little bit more storage. And then up the ladder, we have got a potions area. And I'm going to be honest, I'm quite proud of this one. And let me tell you why. Because if you grab yourself a glass bottle here, you've got water. And you can just fill up your water infinitely right there. Isn't that cool? It's an infinite water source by waterlogging 2 stairs, covering up the sides with these trapdoors, and then putting a trapdoor underneath the middle so you can access it, but that stops the water falling down. Minecraft physics. Oh well. And that is our finished base over a river. Let me know in the comments what you think. What could I have done differently? What would you have done differently? Would you like to download this? Please do. Avomance.com. It is completely free to absolutely anybody. And I'm going to do it in Bedrock and in Java edition. So it is there, open to you, this world. Alternatively, I have put the seed of the world down in the description so you can go and build this yourself according to the tutorial that I've just done. If you like it, please do have a go, maybe change up the palette. I'd love to see your images, post them in my Discord. The link is in the description below. And I will look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.